tonight on News 22. President Trump is facing more questions on his immigration policy. A new gun control bill heads to the governor's desk, but not all New Mexicans are behind it. And New Mexico is looking to change their marijuana laws. These stories and more on News 22 Wednesday.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Diana Castillo.
And I'm Amanda Adame.
Homeland Security Secretary Christian Nielsen faces tough questions on Capitol Hill regarding Trump's immigration policy.
The questions regard the border with Mexico, including children apprehended with and without their parents, and more on the president's emergency declaration. Karen Keifa reports from Washington.
It was been nearly a year since the Secretary of Homeland Security testified before this committee.
Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen grilled by House Democrats on border security and immigration, including the highly controversial family separations at the southern border.
As a consequence for a parent going to jail, we in this country do not take the children to jail.
So I take that as a yes, that you understood that the zero tolerance policy was going to lead to minors being separated from their parents.
As it has in the last 3 administrations.
Yes. Okay.
And offering a firm defense of the administration, but at times few specifics.
You know how many young people are detained?
Yes, ma'am. I don't have that number in front of me. We have all of the numbers.
Would you provide that for me?
Yes.
When it came to total apprehensions, Nielsen pointed to new numbers from Customs and Border Protection. More than 76,000 people apprehended at the southern border during February, on track for 900,000 this year. She defended Trump's emergency declaration to access funds for a southern border wall.
He hoped Congress would act, that it didn't have to come to issuing an emergency declaration if Congress had met his request to fund the resources that CBP has requested.
The House has voted to terminate that order. The Senate appears poised to do the same. The president says he'll veto it. In Washington, I'm Karen Keifa.
El Paso is experiencing another surge of Central American migrants. Last night, over 700 migrants presented themselves for asylum. They were picked up by the Border Patrol near the Chihuahuita neighborhood in south central El Paso. This comes after Secretary Christian Nielsen claimed there is a crisis facing the southern border. No word where the migrants are going to be taken or where they will be housed.
Plans for a new immigrant processing center in El Paso are in the works after U.S. Customs and Border Patrol held a press conference on Tuesday. CBP Commissioner Kevin McAllen, along with other border agents, showed statistics proving the record number of apprehensions set last year is on track to be broken. Officials cite a 434% increase in activity in El Paso alone as the reason for a new immigration center to be built. There is still no word on where the center will be built or on how much it will cost. $192 million were set aside in the last border security deal for a new center to be built. NMSU President Emerson Morrow is facing the possibility of being impeached. According to the NMSU Coco Pelli, Morrow allegedly showed up to last week's Arts and Sciences Council meeting under the influence. The senators are seeking the immediate removal and impeachment of Morrow. Morrow graduated last May from the NMSU Journalism Department and is listed as a graduate student on the NMSU directory. If the NMSU Supreme Court refers the case, the Senate can remove Morrow by a 3/4 vote.
We have been experiencing some spring weather lately.
Spring's in the air and I'm excited about it. Danielle's next to tell us more with our first look. Las Cruces police is releasing the name of a man who was found dead yesterday. Police identified the victim as 30-year-old Damon Williams. Williams' body was discovered yesterday morning near Loman Avenue and Delmont Street. Williams' body did show signs of trauma. Police have sent his body for an autopsy. No word on when the results will be back.
We showed up and confirmed that there was a man who was deceased and his death did not appear to be natural. So we're investigating actively. We're asking for the public's help. Anybody who has any information or has any inkling of information on anything that may have happened here in the last few days.
LCPT's investigation is continuing today, and they will update the public when more information is available.
Las Cruces police are investigating a shooting that happened at a local barbershop. Investigators believe the victim got into some type of dispute with a man. At some point, the suspect fired at least one round that struck the victim in the chest. The victim was taken to Mountain View and is in critical condition. The suspect fled the barbershop and has not been seen since. If you have any information, call the police. The Baylor Canyon fire is nearly contained. Yesterday, it was reported that the fire was 75% contained. Crews worked together the day knocking down flames and hot spots. The BLM credited the fast response to first responders.
And so again, that is where you see the beauty of those first responders and them recognizing what the hazards are and what to protect. So they put all their emphasis on protecting those homes.
The BLM will send out an update when the fire is fully out.
Google is coming to Las Cruces in hopes of growing economic opportunity. The meeting will be on Wednesday, March 20th at NMSU's Brannigan Library. The meeting will be from 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. The one-day event will be an opportunity for job seekers to meet with small business owners. Attendants will be allowed to set up a one-on-one meeting with Google representatives. Spaces are limited. NMSU Career Services invites alumni and the general public to the 15th Annual Employment Extravaganza Fair on March 13th. The event will take place from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the first floor of the NMSU Corbett Center Student Union. Employers such as the New Mexico Workforce Connection and possibly Doña Ana County will be at the extravaganza, where they can meet with candidates on a personal and face-to-face basis. Candidates are advised to bring their resume and dress appropriately. Employers who would like to attend may register online at Aggie Career Manager. And stay tuned, Danielle will be back with your national forecast.
But first, possession of drugs in New Mexico will have a lighter punishment. More on that when News 22 continues.
Hi, I'm Adrian Villarther with KRWG-Public Media, and I'd like to invite you to become a member during our Spring Festival. Like many of you, I grew up watching PBS. Some of my earliest memories include Oscar, Big Bird, all the Sesame Street characters. Those programs started my journey as a lifelong PBS viewer and a lifelong learner. I hope you'll join me on that journey. If you're passionate about KRWG and public media, I hope you'll support us. Call 888-922-5794 or pledge online at krwg.org. Thank you.
There's never been a more important time to make sure facts and the truth are driving conversation. Washington Week is an island of civil discourse in a chaotic media environment. On Friday nights, we gather the best reporters in the nation to unpack what's really happening and have a conversation that's not about point of view, but about informing the American people.
Washington Week, Friday at 7 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Wednesday,
where news matters.
In New Mexico, the first major gun control bill of this legislative session is now on the governor's desk, but the fight over it is not over.
Brittany Bade explains.
It sparked a lot of debate in the Roundhouse.
Because we have such a big gun violence problem, we need this bill.
And around the state.
This is part of our Constitution, is the right to bear arms. and we are all here in support.
Now, Senate Bill 8, requiring background checks for guns sold privately and at gun shows, is on the governor's desk.
I do now move that Senate Bill 8, 3 times amended, do now pass.
But 27 of New Mexico's 33 counties are already pushing back against the bill, saying they will not enforce any gun control laws.
It is breathtaking to me that you would have sworn law enforcement officers saying that they are going to refuse to enforce a law.
House Speaker Brian Egolf calls the behavior of sheriffs across the state unprecedented and says even though this map is mostly against the bill, most of the state is actually for it.
It might be tense for the 15% or so of the state that doesn't want universal background checks, but they're very popular. 85% of the people of the state of New Mexico support universal background checks.
This bill targets private sales from one person to another and says one person would have to pay for a background check. Opponents say the law would just create more bureaucracy for law-abiding citizens while criminals would still do what they want. And there are other concerns.
It isn't an expansive, we're coming after your guns type of legislation, but I think people are always worried about the slippery slope.
News 13's political analyst Gabe Sanchez says a checkerboard of counties enforcing gun laws will be a problem.
I think that's the danger. They could have a law in the books if nobody enforces it. What's the point of having that law?
Sanchez believes this is an issue that will have to play out in court. And Egolf believes the law is on their side.
It's fine for them to disagree with it, but that's not going to keep us from taking common sense measures to keep our communities safe.
Brittany Bade, KRQE News 13.
New Mexico is suing the U.S. Air Force over accusations of contamination. The state saying that 2 Air Force bases, Cannon and Holloman, have left toxic chemicals and will not take responsibility for the cleanup. This is not the first time this has been a problem. The same chemicals were found last year in groundwater near the 2 bases. Similar pollution problems around the country have prompted the EPA to consider setting a maximum level for the chemicals in drinking water nationwide.
The New Mexico State Senate is moving forward with marijuana legislation. The bill would reduce penalties for possession of small amounts of marijuana. The bill passed Tuesday on a 30-8 vote. The bill would shorten marijuana fines to $50. Other bill proposals to let marijuana sales in New Mexico that have not reached the House or Senate floor.
A new drug by Janssen Pharmaceuticals has just been approved to help those that battle depression, but haven't had success with other treatments. But the nasal spray comes with a big warning label.
Meredith Wood explains in today's Health Minute.
Millions of people suffer from depression, but approximately 1/3 of those suffering from major depression are considered treatment resistant, meaning nothing works. Well, help and hope may be on the way. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration just approved the second ever drug and first one in a decade to treat those with treatment-resistant depression. The drug is Spravato, and it contains esketamine, the chemical cousin of ketamine, a powerful anesthetic which is used illegally as the club drug Special K. It's administered as a nasal spray and is fast-acting, a welcome change when other treatments like Prozac can take weeks or months to work.
All our previous antidepressants work by serotonin or norepinephrine. This mechanism is completely novel. It works on the NMDA receptor and turns on what we think are some long-term synaptic changes.
Side effects range from dizziness and lethargy to feeling drunk and temporarily disconnected from your body and mind. Because of its potency and potential for abuse, the drug will not be sent home with patients. It will be administered at the doctor's office, and patients will be monitored for at least 2 hours afterwards. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
We missed it earlier, but Danielle is next with your first look at weather.
This is Danielle Gutierrez with your current conditions. Now Las Cruces is starting to see those spring-like temperatures. Right now we have mostly clear skies with temperatures at a warm 73 degrees. We have winds coming out of the southwest at 13 miles per hour. humidity at 19%, a dew point sitting at 21 degrees, and a barometer reading at 29.92 inches. Now looking at our weather we experienced today, we hit a high of 78 degrees, which is actually well above our average at 70 degrees, and we woke up to an overnight low at 47 degrees. Throwing it back to the year 1972, we hit record high temperatures at 83 degrees, and in 1977, record low temperatures at 18 degrees. We had no rainfall today, leaving our yearly rainfall at 0.11 inches. Now let's go ahead and get into our national forecast. Now taking a look at my first map here, this fast-moving storm system will spread snow from the north central plains to the Ohio Valley beginning tonight into tomorrow night. Now this is going to cause travel disruptions as well as slippery roads. We can see here we have Indianapolis and Fort Collins experiencing 1 to 3 inches of snow. We have Omaha experiencing 3 to 6 inches of snow, and Rapid City there with 6 to 10 inches of snow. Now on my next map, we definitely want to talk about what's been going on down south with these tornadoes. Now as we can see on this map here, there is cool and dry air coming down this way, along with warm and humid air meeting here. And what's happening is this is creating instability within these areas that is causing these tornadoes. Now on my final map, we're going to be looking at the effects of these tornadoes. Now they will bring damaging winds, flash flooding, and frequent lighting, as well as these tornadoes in these areas here. So make sure to stay safe and take all the safety precautions if you live around these areas. That's all I have for your national forecast. I'll be right back with your local temperatures after this break.
Here and now, NPR News middays, weekday afternoons from noon to 2 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Robin Chutkan. Many diseases actually begin in your gut, and these gastrointestinal issues can sometimes be debilitating. But with the right information, you can be empowered to get all of these symptoms under control.
Saturday morning at 11:30.
Hello, I'm Martin Sheen, welcoming you to a centennial celebration of the immortal Nat King Cole.
Unforgettable Mona Lisa.
It's Nat King Cole's greatest songs on PBS.
Saturday at 7 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Wednesday. Let's go ahead and take a look at temperatures across New Mexico right now. We have Farmington with 50-degree weather, Clovis at 55 degrees, Roswell at 58 degrees, Ruidoso at 56, Albuquerque at 55, Las Cruces here at 73 degrees, and Deming at 70 degrees. Taking a look at temperatures across New Mexico tomorrow, they definitely are starting to warm up. We have Roswell at a high 82 degrees, Ruidoso at 63 degrees, Clovis at 76, Socorro at 76 as well. We have Santa Fe at 59 degrees, Las Cruces here at 81 degrees, and Deming at 78 degrees. Taking a look at our neighboring cities, tonight Alamogordo will experience partly cloudy skies with 50-degree weather, and tomorrow sunny skies at 78. And taking a look at Truth or Consequences, they will also have partly cloudy skies tonight with 50-degree weather, tomorrow at 78-degree weather with partly cloudy skies as well. Now taking a look here in the city of the Cruces, we have partly cloudy skies tonight with 45-degree weather and high temperatures tomorrow at 81 degrees, so you can definitely leave those jackets at home. I'll be back with your 5-day forecast later on in the show. For now, back to the desk.
A woman was set on fire and police are now looking for the suspect.
Here's Irene Romero with your Southwest Minute.
The woman was sleeping in a Houston parking lot when someone set her on fire late Tuesday night. The woman suffered extensive injuries to her lower body. A bystander intervened, but the suspect had already fled.
I can hear you.
Police are looking at a nearby church surveillance camera for more information.
1, 2, 3,
a police
mic check.
officer
1,
is
2,
dead
3.
after being shot in Midland, Texas on Tuesday. Officer Nathan Heidelberg was responding to a burglary call and announced himself at the front door of the home. Homeowner David Wilson thought the officer was breaking in and shot him. He died at the hospital. David Wilson was arrested and charged with manslaughter and is out on a $75,000 bond. And new groundwork to avoid Las Vegas traffic might be coming soon. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority want to build an underground transportation system. The $55 million project would include tunnels where cars or special pods could take people around the city's convention facility. The completion is scheduled for 2021. I'm Irene Romero with your Southwest Minute.
And I'm really excited for the men's basketball game. It's the last one of the season.
I am too. I'm excited to cheer on for the Aggies, and Michaela Romero is next with sports.
Thanks, guys. Coming up in sports, the men's and women's baseball and softball team is in full swing, and the women's swim team is back from their WAC championships this past weekend. The men's basketball team will be playing their last home game of the season that you don't want to miss. Don't go too far because News 22 Sports is next.
On Masterpiece.
It's a great achievement. I wish the same could be said for my career.
I think you're not alone in deploring his actions.
Please find the Duke of Monmouth.
One quick twist!
This is why you mustn't go near him, Joseph.
I don't care what he does to me.
I want to see my son.
I have my standards, and your unfortunate son does not meet them. I declare the exhibition open. Victoria, the season finale on Masterpiece.
Thursday at 8:30 p.m.
Look who's singing the great songs of the legendary Joni Mitchell, who's now, can you believe it, 75, at this very special event in her honor.
Only for you, help me, I think I'm falling. I wanna have fun, I wanna shine like the sun. We are stars.
Join us for Joni 75, a birthday celebration.
Love you, Joni, so much. Happy birthday. Thank you for the music.
On great performances.
Friday at 8 p.m. on KRWG.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. I'm Michaela Romero, and let's talk sports. The New Mexico State men's baseball team is back in full swing and have been grinding and are determined to keep their 4-game winning streak alive. The men are preparing for another long weekend of games against the La Salle Explorers. The Explorers have an overall record of 6-3, and the Aggies have an overall record of 11-2. The Aggies currently rank in the top of the nation in many hitting stats so far this season. The first game of the 3-day weekend series will be on Friday at 6:05 p.m. at the Presley Askew Field. The New Mexico State women's softball team is also in full swing. The women started off their season strong but have fell off their winning streak for the past few games. The women are looking ahead to the weekend determined for a comeback. They will be heading to Tempe, Arizona for 3 days of competition. Their first game will be against the Michigan Wolverines, and to conclude the 4-game weekend, they will play the Lehigh Mountain Hawks on Sunday. The New Mexico State women's swim and dive team is finally back from their WAC championships in Houston, Texas. The women wrapped up their season and got second place to Northern Arizona. Head coach Rick Pratt was also named WAC Coach of the Year for the 4th time. Most of the women are looking ahead for next season, but seniors McKenna Hoff and Raina Brommer are not done yet and are set to compete at the NCAA Diving Zones in Flagstaff, Arizona next week. The Aggies men's basketball season is coming to a close with only one more game until the WAC championships. The Aggies are having a successful season with an overall record of 26-4. They beat Chicago State this past weekend with a score of 92-58, and the men will be playing their last home game of the season this weekend against California Baptist University. The game is set to tip off this Saturday at 7 p.m. inside the Pan Am. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Danielle will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, you've heard of dogs with jobs before, but this dog has one thing that is sure to teach you a lesson. Find out more when News 22 returns.
Why do we want to know ourselves?
Dr. Deepak Chopra created the 7 spiritual laws of success to help everyone reach their peak potential.
The 7 spiritual laws of success transform our life.
Sunday morning at 8.
The legends of 1950s and early 60s pop return to the PBS stage in an all-new My Music special.
To spend one night with you in our old
Sunday at 7 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
People who complain about memory loss have an 80% chance it will get worse unless they do something about it. When you lose your memory, you lose your independence and the precious moments that make you happy. You can slow or even reverse the aging process. Your brain's history is not your destiny.
Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Let's take a look at our top stories. Homeland Security Secretary Christian Nielsen faced tough questions by House Democrats on border security and immigration policies. A new gun control bill is on the New Mexico governor's desk, but many aren't happy. The bill would require background checks and for guns sold privately and at gun shows. And the New Mexico State Senate is moving forward with a bill to shorten marijuana fines to just $50.
A teacher in Las Vegas got her dog certified as a therapy dog or facility dog for the students in her class. Heather Onay is a third grade teacher at Forbus Elementary School, and Lucy is her helpful assistant. She has her own badge that makes her part of the school staff. Onay says she's always known that Lucy had a special gift, and the kids say Lucy is giving a better classroom experience. The therapy dog trend is fairly new, so right now there are only a few therapy dogs at schools in the district.
Very sweet. Very sweet, right? And Danielle, what are the next 5 days looking like?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at our 5-day forecast. Now, as I said earlier, we are definitely starting to see those warmer temperatures this week. Tomorrow we're actually hitting a high of 81 as we did today, and the rest of the week will remain in the 70s with mostly sunny skies and warm overnight lows.
So it's definitely spring, right?
Definitely.
Yes. And don't forget, you can catch all of today's aired stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page at youtube.com/KRWG News 22.
And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat for show updates and the latest on what the News 22 team is up to. And that's all for News 22 Wednesday. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Tune in tomorrow night for more news from across the Southwest. I'm Amanda Adame.
I'm Diana Castillo.
And I'm Danielle Gutierrez. Good night.
Good night.
This news brief en español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a este breve informativo de Noticias 22. Les saluda Gaby Hernández. Un equipo de limpieza encontró un cadáver masculino cerca de un arroyo localizado junto a la avenida Loman y calle del Monte. El cadáver ha sido identificado como Jamon Williams, de 30 años de edad, residente de la ciudad de Las Cruces. Su cuerpo se encontró con signos de trauma, pero la causa exacta de su muerte aún no se ha determinado. El cuerpo de Williams ha sido enviado a la Oficina de Investigación Médica de Nuevo México para una autopsia. La policía continúa con sus investigaciones. Cualquier persona con información sobre este incidente debe llamar a la policía al 575-526-0795. Decenas de personas se congregaron a las afueras de Corvette para dar inicio a la Semana Latina 2019 en NMSU. Con la intención de mantener las tradiciones con vida, la organización Latinos en Ciencias e Ingeniería organizaron una presentación de baile folclórico. Diferentes vestuarios y bailes de múltiples regiones fueron interpretados por el grupo de baile cuyos integrantes son principalmente niños. El público admiró la destreza de la presentación y recordaron la importancia de esta clase de eventos. Las celebraciones continúan el día de hoy con muestras de carne asada de los restaurantes locales y música en vivo. Para Noticias 22,